Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
I'm feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight, finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to, ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbon nights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free, yeah. Told me get myself together, now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather, better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy, the carbon night is gone. I'm moving on, I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride, I'm heading.
Look at that. We've already got 2 people on already. How cool.
I almost forgot. I almost hit the end stream.
Yeah, after a minute and 33. Well, we would have been under the hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got 2 people on. Let me display the chat once now it's so when they start chatting, we won't miss it.
Yeah, it's so good to see you, E-Girl and Fordo. And I
Yes.
didn't realize until after we got off last week that we had a whole bunch of people that were chatting on, I think it was on Facebook or whatever, because Heather said that a bunch of other people were commenting, and I didn't see any of the comments.
The Facebook thing is weird. And then when I started up today, because of all the stuff with Twitter, all that crap went weird. So I just turned the Twitter thing off. I was like, forget whatever it's called now, X or
something. It's so as an old guy, it's so hard for me to keep up with all that stuff.
Yeah. So, but how's your week been?
It's been all right. I completely forgot to talk last time we got together that Heather and I had gone out to an armor party in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I saw pictures. That was a pretty good one.
It was really fun, and the funny part was the armor part. 2 armor parties before, we brought one of those pop up tents with us. You know, the square awning sort of thing. We're out in the backyard, and out of nowhere, this rain kind of came in and started getting windy, and it picked up our tent. And I grabbed it, but the wind was strong enough to carry it over, and it slammed on the ground, and one of the legs bent. So we ended up literally taking a sawzall, cutting it up, and throwing it away. It wasn't repairable.
Right. I've had that happen to all of mine.
Because and unfortunately, I didn't do what I normally do. Whenever I go camping, I'll stake a tent down like it's Fort Knox. Like
Yeah.
I'm used to doing that because I used to be a Boy Scout, and I didn't do it that time, and we paid the price. So this time, before we went up there, we were stopping to get snacks. And at the place that we were at, they had a small one. It was 6x6. We're thinking, it's just the 2 of us underneath this thing. It'll be fine. So we get all the way up to Pennsylvania. We set this thing up. It's 6x6 square, and the top of it in the middle is 6 foot tall. I'm 5'9". So in order to get into this thing, I have to duck down. So we ended up paying like $60 for this thing that we're now just going to use when we go to the beach.
Yeah. Oh, that is a good size for the beach.
Yeah, because when we're at the beach, we're sitting down anyway. So, we just use it for a little bit of shade or whatever. And then I bought another one that's 10 by 10.
Yeah.
More of a normal size human could fit into this. But it was, and at that armor party, this freak storm, this rainstorm came in and out within 25 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And it was done. But it was a good time. And for whatever reason, the funniest topic of conversation was that they actually have hobby horse contests. There are people that get together. You know how they do like equestrian events?
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
Well, they have equestrian events with people riding hobby horses.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, that's
so Heather is considering getting a hobby horse now. I'm not sure why, but that was the whole talk. Not the whole talk, but that was a big portion of the conversation on that Saturday was what kind of hobby horse should Heather get?
Well, yeah, she could make it look like a blurg on the front.
I was joking around. We could put a tauntaun head on it.
Yeah, a hobby tauntaun. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, my week was not very Star Warsy. I mean, I worked on some stuff, but um, I was working on TK armor with a guy from Maryland yesterday.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Like one of your teacher friends, or
yeah, he just I know him. Like I didn't know him. It seems like when you don't know people and then they find out you're doing Star Wars stuff, you go from barely knowing them to a friend like zero. But yeah, he's trying to join the Maryland Garrison, so he has a Walt's Trooper Factory kit,
nice.
and yeah, I helped him, but I always feel bad because I haven't built a TK kit since 2007. So like you wear TK, I'm like, yeah, but and every kit, everything on my kit would not pass now. Like I'm just grandfathered in, like nothing on my kit would pass. He's like, oh, we can look at yours. No,
We can as to what not to do. Sure, that's a great idea. Like
mine's an overlap kit. They used to make them so you didn't have to put the strips down the middle. They just overlapped.
okay,
And so but it was fun. I mean, we spent like 4 hours just to get the gin started.
oh my goodness.
With those Waltz, you have to get the front perfect, and then you do your sizing in the back. That's where you do your extra trimming.
Okay,
Because the front strip's supposed to be like 20 millimeters or something wide. So you get the front perfect, and then you have to do all that other stuff in the back.
so is he gonna come up again to help finish up?
He might. He was just happy to start. Like I think it's like everything. It's at first cut. Howdy,
Yeah.
John.
Gotcha. Looks like E-Girl had some Star Wars stuff going on. Did some lightsaber training.
Nice. That's good. 2-on-1, and you still won. All right. Well, that's Anakin. Yeah, he did pretty good. Well, it was just 1-on-1, but with 2 sabers, I think. Or the old what was that Dark Forces game that you played where you fought the 2 creatures? One looked like a really big Yoda, and one looked like a really little Yoda. Remember that? And you had to fight them with your lightsaber.
I wish those games were available on the newer platforms.
I think they're on Steam. I think you can get them on Steam for the PC. I think not for the Mac.
Gotcha. Oh, you can?
I think.
John's giving us the thumbs up. So
He's finishing his dinner. It's my fault because honestly, I forgot it was Wednesday, and then our morning started with something that we have to talk to John. Ken and I have to talk to John about after. Like I was painting and I was getting stuff done, and my phone was in the house, and when I walked in, it had like tons of emails, and it was like mid conversation. I was like, oh crap, I got to read this, and I got to actually make sure I read it like 5 times because it was July early morning. I didn't want to, so, but yeah, I worked on that. I'm still working on the Sabine armor. I sent a message to you guys about the lacquer and the primer.
yeah, where did you find that idea?
I was just standing in the paint aisle, and I was like, I wonder how that would work because I was looking at it says makes wood smooth. I was like, so it's okay, but there's a weird chemical thing with the sandable primer and the lacquer when you wet sand it. So I don't know if I wet sanded it too soon, so it kind of made it sticky.
Oh,
So I'm gonna let it dry. Like I got impatient, so I let it dry. I'll check it out tomorrow or Friday and see how it. But there is potential there because just from the first sanding, it's almost completely smooth. So
Wow.
So well,
Now, was it the lacquer that felt sticky, or was
the
it
lacquer coming through the primer? But it could be that lacquer has a way longer dry time. I never read the label. It's like, hey, it's in a spray paint can. It has to be just like spray paint. So I probably should have let the lacquer set up more before I put the primer on it. But I'll see how it turns out. But it looks promising. I mean, I got that, and I'm trying to think what else I got done. I got I got the droids coming along. I spent a half a day looking at CV joints at Advanced Auto to replace the 3D printed ones. I just thought it looked nicer with rubber ones, but I think that's just like like hunting for a needle in a haystack. So to get the exact one, but I got the wooden dowels in and glued them in and stuff. So
Now, when you put that together, you're going to put it together so it's constantly together, or you're going to put it together so it can be taken apart and brought to a
I'm gonna
show.
make it so you can take it at the waist,
Okay.
pop it in because I don't even know if it'll fit in here because I think with the head on it's going to be 7 foot tall.
Wow. Okay.
Now, are you going to also print the updated files that
I
they
don't
made?
think so. I was thinking about that. You mean so Grogu can sit in there?
The IG-12 or whatever.
I was thinking about that, but I if I didn't have other things to print, but I'm like I have all these stupid companies that I buy files from keep sending me emails with cooler stuff, and I need like 100 printers just to catch up on my print file hoarding. You know,
Well, you didn't win I thought you were to put in for the Mega Millions. That didn't come through.
no. Well, and I haven't started. I just set up the 500 millimeter printer, and I think I got to start that up. But I want to start Chopper, so I'm just patiently waiting for my pet dude to get here. So.
Yeah, Dad wants me to print a life-size B1.
Oh,
or he also wants me to print an IG unit. And I was like, well, I can't do that because Mike's already printing one.
yeah.
So,
Well,
you can. You're in another state.
I could, but we got to have a variety here.
Well, see, you got to get your dad into the finishing part so you can print him parts. The IG unit is a perfect example of why I'm terrible at 3D printing because as they were printing, I'm like, I'm just going to finish this while this one prints, and you don't. You're just like, oh well, okay, it's just the feet. Okay, it's just the legs. Okay, now I have a tub of parts that I have to finish.
Well, because the problem with that is, once you print it and you assemble it, then you got to fill the gaps.
Yes. Well, the IG the cut on that IG unit. What's nice is, most of the cuts are in seams, so you don't really have to do much filling on the bigger printer.
That's nice.
And then it has little pins to like align stuff, which I didn't print all the little pins. I just bought a wooden dowel, and I'm just going to cut it, just so it's a little stronger because those but
I love Droid Division, but the pins that they tell you to print are awful.
And then if you don't print them on the same printer, you get sizing issues. But Droid Division is a nice. If you're going to start printing droids, other than if you want like actual droids that are going to do stuff, Michael Badley. Have you bought any of his files?
Not
so
yet.
The Chopper files, when you print them, there is almost no support. You print them and they go from the bottom up, and the way the files are cut, they literally snap together. Like his stuff
nice.
is, and he tells you the settings. He'll say, do this, don't turn the supports on, this, that, and the other thing.
See, I wish I could find someone who knew how to do the modeling for this project I have in my head. So do you remember back in the late 70s, early 80s when they had the C-3PO and the Darth Vader carrying cases?
Yes.
So, and if anyone out there is listening knows how to do this, please, give me credit for this is my idea should you decide to do this. I want to figure out a way of printing one half of that. So I don't need the Vader face.
Right.
I just want the outline of Vader and the little slots that the figures would go in.
Yeah.
Except I want it to be the scale that would hold Black Series figures that I can then put on the wall.
Now, have you been to the Disney store lately and seen their Toy Box Vader box?
No.
So the Toy Box figures that are look like Pixar?
Yep.
They sell a special edition Vader case for them.
Huh.
I did not know that.
And
so they've already stolen my idea. Those
maybe.
things. No, because I don't need it to fold. Like I said, I just want it to be half. And on top of that, or in addition to that, I want to have. So I want one that's in the shape of C-3PO that I could put droids in.
Right.
I want one in the shape of Princess Leia's shoulders with the Cinnabon hairstyle that I can put female figures in, and I want one in the silhouette of Boba Fett that I can put my bounty hunters in, and I want them to be big enough to hold the Black Series figures and can be mounted on a wall.
Well, see,
Well,
that might be something you don't want 3D printed though. That's something I think you want traced on MDF. So if you got MDF and you traced it in that shape, get a projector and project it on the wall, cut it, round the edges, and you could probably make a very close thing of what you want. Would be because the 3D print of something that large, you would spend forever getting it to look, I think, what you want. But that's cool. I like that idea.
Even if it was just the little cubbies where all the figures go in, and that could to your point with the MDF could be the frame of it,
Well,
and then
you route out the lines, and then you can slide in your thin MDF, or I would say translucent, so you could put LEDs and it would light the whole thing up. That's my 2 cents.
yeah, so that's one of the random projects I've had bouncing around in my head for about a year and a half, trying to figure out how to make. Because I have lots of Black Series figures, but I don't have a nice way of displaying them. And I think it would be cool to have that, that old timey toy.
Oh yeah.
Toy carrying case, kind of display.
You almost need a mirror so it looks like it's an open case.
Oh, that would be fun.
So then you'd have I want the what's the new open world game that's
Outlaws.
Huh? Yeah, when
that comes out, is it later this year, John?
I thought it was March of next year.
Oh, March of 24. Okay.
I want the file
I think
from
so.
Droid Division of that droid, and I just want to print it a bust up of that. And just go to a thrift store and buy an old jacket and just cut it in half and have it just from from like here up of that droid just sitting.
The fact that they bother to give a droid clothes is just so funny to me.
Yeah.
Like when they put the cape on the HKs in The Mandalorian.
Well, yeah. But
yeah, it looks like they are just aiming for 2024.
Oh, okay.
So it'll probably be in the fall of 2024. Because I think everything's going to get Disney's is going to blame everything on the strike right now. Every single thing. That's what it seems like they're doing.
I mean, if you look at it from Disney's perspective, which I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying, devil's advocate. They got a golden goose. Well, the reason you didn't like it is because of this whole writer's strike.
Yeah.
Or we can't put this out because of this whole strike.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
For Disney, it's the perfect excuse if anything goes wrong in their film and television department.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, we tried.
Well, I was talking to Kerwin of Kerwin and Keith yesterday, and he was asking me about the strike and stuff because I told him, I said, we're erring on the side of making sure we don't cover what we're not supposed to cover, because I'm amazed at the amount of podcasters that are just covering like everything's fine. I know there's a lot they're putting in like a disclaimer, hey, we're supporting the people and this and that, but I am amazed at some of the other ones that are just like promoting shows and that they're being, I mean, again, I guess it's everyone's own whatever, but
Well, I mean,
yeah, I'm not talking about anything.
I mean, I'm happy to turn over our earnings from this episode to the cause.
Yes. Well, I just, it's my background. The writers, perfect example of why we need writers is if you watch the Battlestar Galactica series, remember that happened mid-strike, and there's that one season that happened like when the strike, it's like night and day, there's some episodes there you're like, what?
Yeah, I'm 1,000,000% in support of people getting, a fair piece of their efforts, their work.
Yeah. Well, and because we went and saw the Barbie movie, and I didn't post anything up, even though they're telling you not to don't boycott films and stuff like that. But I'm still trying to like not, which I would highly recommend that movie to you gentlemen. I never thought I'd say that.
Well, I have to go.
I saw it on Monday.
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead, John. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, I saw it on Monday.
It was good. It was.
Yeah, I mean,
It was.
the three of us are not the target audience,
Right.
so I feel I have to preface
Two
that.
of us aren't the target audience.
Oh,
I'm 100% the target audience.
Good point. Yeah, you make a good
I
point.
mean, I've been identifying as a Ken for as long as I've been on this planet. I have to go and see it.
Yeah, he's just Ken.
Just Ken.
It was funny. I wish that's the only thing is I wish I would have known more about Barbie to get all the Easter eggs. Because I didn't know anything. My kids didn't like Barbie when they were kids.
Not only were there tons of Barbie Easter eggs in it, from what I've been told, but there are tons of other movie references in it. Because the Greta, the director of that, and many of the other people that were involved are huge fans of just film in general. Like, Wizard of Oz is a perfect example.
Yeah.
There were a couple references to that.
I don't want to spoil anything, even for the Barbie movie, but there was one little comment. I don't remember exactly when it was in the movie, but it was a target at another movie. I was the only person dying laughing in the theater at it.
It's funny.
But yeah, there was. I thoroughly enjoyed the Barbie movie. However, Oppenheimer was everything I hoped it would be and more. It was above.
Yeah, well,
excellent.
that's a good movie too. But it's kind of like when you go to see the Titanic. You pretty much know how it's not going to end in everyone riding off in the sunset.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because after that movie, Heather and I walk into the car like, I don't really feel like doing anything else today after that. Like, there are some movies you get out like, that was great, that was awesome, like, let's go do whatever. Like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was fascinated with Hiroshima. So, like, I read and did all kinds of old timey research on that stuff. And that's a fun. I don't want to say a fun topic, but it's amazing that how things even got done. How they didn't blow up the entire planet. So,
have you seen it?
I have not. I like the guy who's in it from Peaky Blinders.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
So. I tell you what, I don't know if Christopher Nolan was just going to people's houses and being like, hey, I'm making this movie. We've already got the main cast figured out, but I kind of want you in it. So, like, would you mind just, like, stepping in for, like, 2 or 3 days of shooting and just be this super side character? Because, Ken, I'm sure you noticed. I was just like,
and that person,
that's XYZ. That's
it was fantastic. It really was, and it's one of those movies that you shouldn't be distracted while watching.
Yeah.
You just need to pay attention to how well it's put together.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a don't buy a large soda, because if you get up to pee in the middle of the movie, you're missing.
In the middle
something.
of a 3-hour movie, yeah, you're gonna miss stuff.
Well, that's those two movies prove many things, like why we need writers and why we need, why all those people listed at the end of the film are needed and need to make a living doing it. But it also shows that you can make movies that make people go to a theater.
Yes.
So, they keep trying to nail the coffin on movie theaters, and movie theaters, they keep coming back. They just this time they just got to figure out how to do it.
I think it's funny that the projections for these two movies were $75 million for Barbie, and I think it was $40 million for Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
Oppenheimer ended up doing an $85 million weekend, and Barbie did $175 million.
Well, and interesting enough, for the Barbie one, there was a $150 million advertising budget.
Yeah.
So that as much as people say, or as often as people say that, movies should be done with. I don't think people are done with the movies
No.
because there is something magical that happens in that room between the sound and the lights and the whole experience that is as much as I enjoy watching movies at home or great television at home, it can't be replicated like in the theater. I mean, when you're witnessing some of those sounds where your seat is legitimately vibrating and the floor is vibrating to the point where you feel like your feet are getting tingly,
Yeah.
or you you have to physically turn your head to see what's happening in this corner because the screen is so large, and I don't, as big as my TV is, I don't have to do that. And so there is definitely some magic that happens in the theater that can't be replicated at home, or on your phone on a bus. It needs that big screen, big sound experience.
Yeah. Well, and you're there for a purpose. I think that's the big key too. You're there to just watch a movie, you know.
Mhm.
And I think in our homes we get distracted by phones and everything else.
Well, I don't know what's happened with you guys going to movies lately, but I'm distracted by the people next to me who are on their phones, or two rows ahead of me who are deciding that now is the time they're going to use their camera to check to see if they have popcorn in their teeth, and this bright light comes like,
I've lucked out. We have pretty conscientious moviegoers where we go. So,
If you want to hear a movie theater horror story, I've got one for you from just 2 days ago.
please.
So we went and saw Oppenheimer. So I pulled a double feature. My mom and I went to go see Barbie. Then mom, dad, and I went to go see Oppenheimer immediately afterwards. So we'd already been there for 2.5 hours watching Barbie. Sit down. Oppenheimer starts, and then there's these three teenagers that walk all the way up the stairs and in the row behind us the entire time with their flashlight on. In the first 5 minutes of the movie. So it's just flashlight walking up the stairs, and they walk behind us. They don't turn their flashlight off when they find their seats. They pull their phones straight up and are just flashing the back of everyone's heads. It's just like, come on, have some common sense.
well, you know how that works.
So, and like, I get that it's dark, and I get you can't see, and it was a sold out theater. So it's like, I get that you can't see, but there's 3 open seats in a packed house. I can only imagine, once you find the row, which one is yours.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Well, besides, let me see what else.
And it's back to your point, Mike, about the people that are in the credits deserve the credit. I mean, from the costumes and the sounds to the sets to the writing, to get back to the strike. Yeah, they all deserve credit for the work that they do. And I don't just mean their name,
Right.
in small print on the screen as everyone's leaving. I mean, to be compensated fairly for what they contribute.
Not everyone is even getting that.
I know. No.
I saw something today on, I don't remember what the website was, but I was just flipping through the news, and turns out that Syncopy did not give credit to all of the visual effects artists on Oppenheimer. There were reportedly, now I don't have firsthand knowledge of this, but apparently there were 125 VFX artists that worked on Oppenheimer. Only 27 were credited.
Well, yeah, that's someone, and because San Diego Comic-Con was going on, which again that was a slippery slope for many people, because I see people promoting the new Star Wars shows, which I would love to be promoting right now, and I've been waiting since 2008 for a live action of and all this stuff, and the costumes I'm working on. But one of the writers, I think, said and I don't think they directed it at any one cosplayer or anyone, but I guess some cosplayers were like, well, we could do whatever, you know. The one writer said you wouldn't have anything to cosplay if someone hadn't written it first. You know, like even you know,
Just be respectful, be thoughtful before you make the decisions that you make.
well, and I know not everyone's a union person, so I completely understand that they don't. Some I guarantee I can probably name a handful of people that probably think the writers are being ridiculous. But I don't think the demands of what they're putting on the fans is really that ridiculous. They're just asking. I think they're more warning us that there's certain people that could be easily pulled in to be doing promo against them and not realize it. You know?
Yeah, and you know the thing is, it's like, trust me. Look, me personally, I wouldn't join a union. I don't personally. For me, not a fan. However, unions for things like the Writers Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, or even like construction unions, they play a very pivotal part in making sure that everyone is treated fairly.
Right.
In like, for the going back to the fans, like, it's not unreasonable to be like, hey, you can just show your support, like, you know, don't boycott the movies because that's more harmful than it is helpful. But like, don't kowtow to these big corporations that aren't paying people. Don't be a bootlicker
Right.
to all these studios.
Well, and I think it speaks to, because like John, you're from the generation, like when I was growing up, when I was your age, more people I knew were in unions, no matter what they were, than weren't. And we now, I don't think people understand, like the writers union. Again, if you're doing written work or you're doing some of that work where they can just use it in forever, how do you protect yourself? You know?
Well, I think another important piece to that, not only can they use it forever, some people can use it forever. Some people, not everyone, equally can financially benefit from it forever.
Right.
You know, and I think that's where the strike is so important, because I don't know if the random fan, the random viewer understands that. They see that it's on Netflix, they see that it's on cable, they see that it's on, you know, whatever, and they don't think beyond just watching it. And I'm not saying that they're doing it out of malice.
No, I agree. And I also think unions have been vilified by both sides for the last 20 years. And the same writers who are in a writers union will write comedy sketches about how bad unions are.
Yeah.
You know, and because like for me, I look at their contracts and I was trying to, how can I put it in teaching terms? Well, imagine if I got paid by how much chalk I used. You know, maybe you get a bonus because if you taught math and you used tons of chalk, that means you taught a lot of math. Well, then I go to a dry erase board. I don't use any chalk anymore, so I wouldn't get paid as much, even though I'm doing the same thing. Like, you know, like these people have contracts that were written when streaming didn't really exist, and so there's no residuals for that. You know,
Well, most of them aren't getting residuals. Period.
right? That's what I'm saying. Like they didn't keep the verbiage or whatever you call it in contracts to go with, because I know very few people that watch network television anymore. Like when I was in my 20s, every Thursday night you went and watched Seinfeld, you know, and then Friday you talked at work because you if you were lucky enough to be smart enough to figure out how to record it on your VCR, but you know, like, and all that's changed.
I swear my dad is single-handedly keeping the cable company in business around here.
Thanks for
But he probably uses like a DVR and stuff. Like,
Nope.
No, your dad, like when it's on, that's when he watches it.
Yep. Well, he also, I recently invested in a Fire Stick for him. So only up until like 3 weeks ago was he was watching cable television every day. Almost, granted, it was mostly TNT.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, a lot of the times they'll be looping.
Yeah, they got
Star
the best
Wars
marathons.
Yeah. I
And
think
what was
every time they need ad dollars, they just do a Star Wars marathon. Because it's funny. I will stop what I'm doing if I'm flipping through, and like we only use cable to watch weather. We just and then you have to dig through, and it'll say Star Wars, and I'll stop.
Which to me, I used to fall into that same trap, and I'm like, have the I have the DVDs and all this. But if I'm at the not supermarket, but if I'm walking through Walmart and there's a Star Wars thing on one of I'll literally stop and say, oh, what part is it? Like I've never seen it before, and I stand there hypnotized until it's done.
We had a TV at the dealership I worked at, and TNT was always one of the channels that was on. I would like if they were running a Star Wars marathon, everyone would be pissed because I would just sit there at my desk and just be like, "Oh,
yeah,
guess we're watching the Phantom Menace today."
Yeah.
So, because my desk was in perfect viewing angle of one of our TVs.
Fringe benefits.
Well, do we have any of us have trooping things that happen?
John does.
I know John. All
I do.
right, John, give us your trooping.
Well, it was a fun troop if you exclude the fact that it was the hottest I have ever been in costume. We were at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds this weekend for the Cleveland Lego Fan Expo, or the Lego. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but we were there for 2 days, and it was miserably hot. However, I got to debut Supreme Leader Kylo.
Nice.
I am still a pair of pants away from getting it approved. Hopefully.
What's nice that your guys let you wear it.
Yeah, nobody cares as long as it is a 501st quality costume and it's not a Lucasfilm event. Those are really. I mean, if it's like, hey, I've got the costume I'm working on. I want to field test it. Like, can I wear it to this?
Nice.
Sure.
That's
Go ahead.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's nice to be able to, because you can try costumes on at home, but you don't really know because it's not like you're wearing them for more than like 10, 20 minutes tops, and you don't really get that same like movement and experience. So it's nice to just be able to wear it out as if it were an.
And your dad debuted his.
Dad debuted General Veers. Still not approved.
I like that Veers. That's why I made the recruitment poster. Help him along the way get approved.
We were sitting at dinner, and he just looks at me. He's like, "God, Mike is so fast with this." I'm like, "Yeah, that's Mike for you." So yeah, it was nice. Other than the fact that it was excruciatingly hot, it was a fun trip. A lot of overpriced Lego.
No, that's Is there ever any underpriced Lego?
I've seen quite a bit on Marketplace, which that's been one of my recent addictions, is just sitting there and scrolling and seeing what people have got for sale.
Well, when you came in, I was telling Ken I was helping a guy with the Waltz Trooper Factory TK kit, and but that's about my Star Wars ish. And that helmet, did I show you guys? I got a tanker helmet. So the guy who dropped me off all his books, he also gave me a tanker helmet, but he filled it with Bondo. Like you can wear it, but all the undercut, it's beautiful inside, but it weighs like
62 pounds.
You put like a brick inside a motorcycle helmet, that would still be lighter.
Yikes!
But it's beautiful. So I'm gonna paint it like Mando when he was the driver. So it's
that was also. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say I just like that design.
Yeah. Well, speaking of helmets, though, that's the first time my dad has ever worn a helmet to troop in, and he was talking like this like the whole time, and I was like, and like one of my friends was like, "Hey, your dad seems really nice, but like I can't hear him." So I went up to him like, "Dude, speak up. Nobody can hear you.
You should be
projecting."
Right. And I was like, "What's the matter? Like, why are you talking so softly?" He's like, "I am." I'm like, "Yeah, nobody."
It's echoing it.
And he's like, I feel like I'm screaming in this thing because it's just a sound chamber or an echo
It
chamber.
looked good. He had a good look.
You got to figure out how to give him
I
a little
can
bit more swagger though when he wears his costumes. He's kind of got, he's just kind of flat.
trust me. I'm working on it. I'll break him at some point.
Please know I'm kidding. I mean, he glows whenever he puts something on.
I still
I just need him to get him to put his shoulders back a little bit and straighten up his posture, especially because he loves doing the Imperial costumes.
Carry a yardstick, or you have a whipping crop, right?
I just hit him with a lightsaber.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
A riding crop.
So I have to order him 3 code cylinders and a new rank bar for his next costume that he's doing.
Next, he's on 3.
4. This will be 4.
4, yeah.
Shut up. I
Because
keep throwing money away in all the wrong directions.
Because I was telling him, like, you can, like, you don't have to keep, like, you don't need a new costume for every event that we do. He's like, I know, but, like, I was thinking about it and I can do this. So I have to order him everything to do Tarkin now.
Ah, that's good.
So he's going to have Krennic, Veers in and out of the armor, and then he'll have Tarkin. I'm like, are you just going for, like, all of the top brass in the Empire?
Then he could also just change the badge on Tarkin and just be a generic.
Or generic.
Well, that's his other. Yeah, so I got him the general rank bar, so that he can just be a line officer.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Cool. Yeah, I have Galactic Armory printing right now for a 4-day print. You want to guess what it is?
Phase 2 clone.
Live action
print.
I did see those files.
Printing. The minute it came out, it was on my printer.
What is being printed? Sorry.
The live action Sabine helmet.
Okay.
Are you going to use the panels that he gave for the template?
I got to look at them because I just got to look because I have the pictures from the guy who paints it. I just got to look and see how close they are because I have a way to paint, so I might just do what I'm good at. But I have 2 enemy prop ones ordered. They're supposed to ship next week.
Be prepared to reprint that one at least.
Oh yeah,
once.
I'm sure there'll be an update 3 days into a 4-day print.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me with the Super Commando.
I'm not that concerned about that one because as soon as Marcus makes one from Enemy, I'm buying it. So that's going to be more of a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I'm still kind of miffed about the Imperial Super Commando.
Yeah,
because the second I pulled it off the printer and got my first layer of filler primer on it, I got an email. It was like, "Oh, here are the updated files for accuracy."
Put it on Marketplace. You get $50 for it.
Yeah, I need to. I've got so many things, and I'm like, I see
what people are selling on Etsy. Their print lines are so bad. They're selling Mando helmets for $45-$50 that, like, I don't know how you'll ever fill those print lines, like, just from the photograph. And people are buying them.
I see things on Etsy, and, like, I don't want to knock any makers. I'm not calling anyone out specifically. I don't even know someone to call out specifically, but, like, there are some things on there I'm like, I wouldn't pay $5 for that. You couldn't pay me to pick that up.
Yeah, so I mean, I got like next week I have a light schedule to try to get stuff done, and then we because we don't have much Star Wars stuff. Do we have anything else to talk about? We might have a short show because we got to talk to John about stuff off air. We have to.
Yeah, I've got things for off air too.
Okay. Anything else, Ken? When we wrap this sucker up.
Just that I'm looking forward to the strike being over. Everyone gets what they need, and we can get back to talking about the exciting things that are around the corner for us.
Yeah, and I recommend everyone try to support the striking people if you can. If you're not for them, that's fine too. But they're just all working people like us that they're not asking. They're asking for nothing crazy. So
yeah, we're all humans at the end of the day.
Yep.
I'm sure if your boss was like, "Hey, we're going to replace you with a robot,"
yeah,
You wouldn't be exactly happy about that either.
And we're going to replace you with a robot that's not even going to do your job well.
Right.
Or all of that work that you already put in, I'm going to get paid for it, but you're not.
Well, that's the other thing, and I'll end on this, is the AI is not truly artificial intelligence because it needs stuff to be fed into it. It's not like if John decides to be a writer, John can start writing. You can start your own personal content and make your own stuff up. The AI needs something. They need to be fed something to you know. It
needs a starting point.
It should be a plagiarism machine. So, anyhow, I'm going to end this. Thanks for everyone that listened, and then we'll.
It's good to see you, E-Girl and Ford. I hope you're doing well.
Yes.
Starships, but then my falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree, no, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town.